Welcome to Eerie Bites of History, your daily serving of strange bites of the past. Today, we have a crash survivor's premonition, a civil war's eerie spark, and a cover-up fueled by political influence, all of which happened on July 18th. Let's begin. On July 18th, 1989, Airlines Flight 232 took off from Denver bound to Chicago. There were 296 souls on board, including families, business travelers, and vacationers. Over an hour into the flight, disaster struck. The plane's tail-mounted engine catastrophically failed, severing all three hydraulic systems, leaving the pilots with virtually no control. Against all odds, the crew managed to guide the crippled DC-10 Sioux City, Iowa. With only throttle adjustments to steer, the plane spiraled down, slamming into the runway in a fiery crash that broke into multiple pieces. 112 people lost their lives, but 184 survived. It was called a miracle. One of the survivors later shared a chilling detail. She'd had a vivid dream the night before of being engulfed in a fireball mid-air. The dream disturbed her so much that she changed seats before boarding to avoid her original spot, which ended up being located in the very section that the aircraft was completely obliterated on impact. Was it pure chance or something deeper? An intuitive warning from the subconscious or something not of this world? Even more unsettling, several other passengers would later admit they felt inexplicably anxious before the flight, uneasy feelings that they couldn't explain. The crash of Flight 232 remains not only a story of human resilience, but one that raises the uncomfortable question about fate, and whether sometimes we're allowed to glimpse it before it arrives. On July 18, 1936, Spain was plunged into darkness as a military uprising against the elected Republican government ignited into a brutal civil war. What began as a political rebellion quickly turned into one of the bloodiest conflicts of the 20th century. For nearly 3 years, Spain tore itself apart. Over 500,000 people died, many not on the battlefield, but in cold blood, executed, disappeared, buried in shallow graves no one dared to mark. Villages were destroyed, families were torn apart overnight, neighbors became enemies, and even the Catholic Church was not spared from violence. Fascist forces under General Francisco Franco carried out systematic purges, while anarchists and communist militias retaliated in kind. Civilians were often caught in the middle, suspected, betrayed, and silenced forever. To this day, tens of thousands of victims remain missing, buried in unmarked graves scattered across the countryside. Some are being exhumed slowly by dedicated historians and grieving descendants, but others may never be found. Though the Spanish Civil War officially ended in 1939, quietest corners of rural Spain, the land still remembers. On July 18, 1969, on a small island off the coast of Massachusetts, Senator Ted Kennedy drove his Oldsmobile off a narrow wooden bridge on the Chappaquiddick Island. The car plunged into the murky waters of the Paucha Pond. Inside with him was 28-year-old Mary Jo Kopechne, a former campaign staffer for his late brother, Robert F. Kennedy. Kennedy escaped the submerged vehicle, but Mary Jo did not. What happened next only deepened the mystery. Kennedy didn't report the crash for over 10 hours. By the time authorities arrived, Kopechne's body was found in the back seat and the autopsy was never performed. Kennedy later claimed he dove repeatedly to rescue her, but couldn't reach her. His statements were vague and conflicting, and at times surreal. The investigation was brief. Kennedy received 2-month suspension sentence for leaving the scene after an accident, but the questions never stopped. Why didn't he call for help immediately? Could Mary Jo have survived if he had? But some experts believe she may have lived for hours trapped in an air pocket. Others suspect a more likely story, a cover-up fueled by political influence. No one else was charged, no one else came forward. Over 50 years later, but what really happened that night may have sunk with the car and Mary. Like your history snack sized? Drop us a comment with your favorite bite and subscribe. Join us daily for your eerie dose of the past.